It was a cloudy day in UA High. It was the middle of the school year, and it was still Midoriya's first year at the time. Things are a little different in UA than in the school he used to go to, but he was probably used to it by now. And he has made some friends there as well. One day, he was sitting on a bench outside at a random spot when he noticed this weird girl sitting on a bench next to the one he was sitting on. He heard somewhere that the girl's name was Maggie. Maggie was notorious for being weird and having no friends at her school. Kind of like how some people are in UA. Except their types are more independent. Maggie, on the other hand, was just completely odd and strange. Midoriya would see her sometimes talking to herself outside of UA during lunch, and even when he saw her during the weekends. One day, he even saw her getting angry and screaming and getting ready to attack a boy that was playfully teasing her, but then another girl defended him from her, mostly because she had a crush on him and probably wouldn't let anyone mess with him. A part of Midoriya felt sorry for one another, but another part of him knew that he would get beat up and attacked if he tried to jump in. One day, during the weekend, Midoriya was at a park and saw Maggie there on a bench sitting by herself. He kind of felt pity for what happened the other day and sat next to her. Midoriya introduced himself to Maggie, and Maggie just gave him a psychotic stare. Then her face just turned from an innocent stare to a weird, creepy grin, almost like she was extremely happy to see him. Midoriya immediately regretted sitting next to her, but he knew it would be rude if he got up. Excuse me. Anyway, and walked away. Then Maggie whispered something to him, but he couldn't hear her. So Midoriya asked her to speak up. Then she whispered again. And this time, Midoriya was able to pick up some of the words she was saying. She asked him what his quirk was, and he told her that his quirk was one for all, and asked her if she had one, but she just said, "I don't know." Then she said, "Just so you know, you and I were meant to be friends." Midoriya found this very disturbing, that she would make such a strange statement after rarely making any what sounded like to him an odd conversation. So Midoriya took a higher approach and just said, yeah, nervously. Maggie then asked him if he was interested in playing with her. Midoriya assumed that she meant by video games or something, because she didn't look like the type to play sports. So he said, "Sure, do you play video games or something?" Then she said, "No," and chuckled weirdly. Midoriya found Maggie's response very bizarre and asked her what she wanted to play. She said if he was interested in playing with some balls. Then Midoriya said, "What do you mean? Do you mean like football or something?" Then Maggie started giggling and gave Midoriya this strange, creepy smile, completely ignoring the fact that he just asked her a question. At this point, Midoriya regretted 100% sitting next to her and found the entire situation weird as heck. He then told her that he had to go do something at home and excused himself without any hesitation. The next day, the most unsettling things happened to him. It was the middle of the day, and Midoriya was walking home after hanging out with Uraraka and Ida. He was looking around while walking and saw something behind the trees. He saw someone staring dead at him from one side of a cemetery he was walking by. It was Maggie, and she was giving Midoriya that same creepy stare she did at the park. He screamed at the top of his lungs and looked away for a few minutes, and he didn't see her there anymore. Midoriya walked up to a bush to see if she was there, but no, she was gone. Then Midoriya was feeling sick to his stomach and continued to head home after that. The next day, Midoriya was getting ready to head to class, but before he did, he turned on the TV, and the news was on TV, and there was breaking news that a student from another school went missing. Midoriya wasn't able to catch the name of the missing person because it was time for him to get to class. After school, Midoriya was sitting on the same bench at the same park where he had that creepy encounter with Maggie, except Maggie wasn't there this time. Then Midoriya assumed that she probably didn't show up at her school. That day. But a part of him was relieved because he didn't want to deal with the strange, odd, and creepy encounters. He even pondered of the idea of Maggie being the missing person he heard on the news broadcast. But eventually, the thought left his mind. Midoriya went back to the cemetery as he was walking the other day, and he was relieved that he didn't have to worry about Maggie creeping up on him behind any trees or bushes or gravestones. So when Midoriya walked home, he suddenly saw a package at his front porch. The package had his nickname on it, which was Deku, written with a purple crayon at the front, and a homemade card next to it. He found this strange and sketchy as he didn't order anything, nor his parents. And he didn't have any gifts mailed to him because it's not his birthday, and it's not Christmas. Midoriya brought the package and the card into his house and went directly to his bedroom. He put the package on his bed and immediately started reading the homemade card. It said, "To my friend, whose quirk is one for all. Sincerely, your best friend." Midoriya remembered exchanging those exact words to Maggie at the park. He started feeling chills down his spine. He knew this had been from her. How the heck did he know where he lived? Midoriya was absolutely terrified of what contents might be lurking inside the package. He started opening it. His heart dropped, and he screamed at the top of his lungs. A ripped-out stomach and a puddle of blood sat inside the package. Midoriya ran downstairs to alert his mom, who in turn calls the police. It was later discovered that Maggie ended up killing the girl who defended the boy that she had a crush on. The girl who defended the boy was the missing person he heard on the news earlier today. Maggie was later arrested and sentenced to prison. As for the girl who defended the boy, her remains were found in Maggie's fridge in individual pieces, all in Tupperware. For the past few days, Midoriya couldn't sleep. He wasn't sure why she kept those remains, but a part of him wanted to know what exactly her intentions were.